Page 7, Tractate Berachot. אמר רבי יוחנן משום רבי יוסי, מניין שהקדוש ברוך הוא מתפלל. Rabbi Yochanan said in the name of Rabbi Yossi, how do we know that Almighty God, blesses He, prayers? שנאמר, as it stated, והביאותים אל הר קודשי, ושימחתים בבית תפילתי, עולותיהם וזבחיהם לרצון על מזבחי. This statement is from Isaiah 56, and it's a little bit puzzling statement. What do you mean by saying God praying? And it's a long discussion. Since we are constrained with time, just mentioning Rabbi Sealia Gaon, he explained that God demonstrated what prayer should be. But again, it's just anthropomorphic way, human language way to understand that there is a concept of prayer that reflected in both ways. תפילתם לא נאמר אלא תפילתי. The text does not say the house of their prayer, but my prayer. מכאן שהקדוש ברוך הוא מתפלל. From here we learn that that God pray, but again, it's not that God prayer in our language, it's attribute that expresses some type of relationship that goes both ways. Man matzle, what does God prayer? אמר רב זוטרא בר טוביה, אמר רב, יהי רצון שיכבשו רחמי את כעסי, may it be the will that my compassion and mercy overcome my wrath and anger, ויגולו רחמי על מידותיי, and my mercy overcome my strong attributes, ואתנהג עם בניי במידת רחמים, and I behave toward my creatures with attribute of compassion and mercy, ואכנס להם לפנים משורת הדין, and I will go an extra mile, I'll go beyond the regular judgment. So, again, we express that that it's one of the attributes of God, that God bestow upon us, the feeling that it's go both ways. And the idea that God, for sure, is only good is just some type of attribute. Soon you see what exactly it means. The Gemarah go to details. תניא אמר רבי ישמעאל בן אלישע, פעם אחת נכנסתי להקטיר קטורת לפני ולפנים. He was a high priest, and he said, one upon time, on the Day of Atonement, I entered inside the Kodesh HaKodashim, it's called the Holy of Holies, to do the regular service like burning incense. וראיתי הקטריאל כהשם צבקות, and I saw a katrikel. So again, there are several interpretations. What does that mean? But it's a certain attributes of God, and it's a expression of God's. He reached a point as a high priest that very close to level of prophecy. שהוא יושב על כיסא רם ונישא, that's the description. You see it in Ezekiel and Isaiah, that sitting on a high lofty throne. ואמר לי, ישמעאל בני ברכני. And the Almighty said, my son, Yishmael, bless me. So again, and again, what God needs a blessing for human, for his creature, it's called in Hebrew, al derech hamashal. It's just some type of human anthropomorphic expression in order for us to comprehend in allegorical way, almost metaphorical way, the interaction. אמרתי לו, I said to him, יהי רצון מלפניך שיכבשו רחמך את כעסך, ויגולו רחמך על מידותיך. May it will be that your mercy conquer over your anger, and that your mercy overcome your strengthened attributes, ותתנהג עם בניך במידת הרחמים, and you behave toward your children with attributes of mercy, ותיכנס להם לפנים משורת הדין, and for their sake you go beyond the boundary of judgment. And upon all of this, God, ונענה לי בראשו, he indeed nodded to me with his head, which means that God agreed with that. So, just let's go to the conclusion, v'kamashmelan, and we learn from that, Bishmael come to tell us from all of that, שלא תהא ברכת אדיוט קלה בעיניך, which means that even someone is a regular, ordinary person give you a blessing, you should not belittle that blessings. So I heard from Reb Chaim Volozhin, he wrote in a book called Nefesh HaChaim, which is a very well-known book. He said when a person said, Baruch Atah Hashem, blessed are you God, Master of the universe. God is the source of all the blessings. So, what does that mean that God nod his head and all these interactions? So he tried to say, God said to us, I want to bring you abundance of goodness. You are my creatures. I want to give you the best possible. But I ask you to use your ability to bring blessing, to bring abundance to people, which means please push the button, use the system that I bestow you in order to bring blessings. So God basically gave him the approval to go ahead and use the system that brings blessing upon people. ואמר רבי יוחנן משום רבי יוסי, מניין שאין מרצים לו לאדם בשעת כעסו, that's similar to Mishnah we studied the other day about anger. So they said, from where do we know that one should not attempt to appease someone the time that he is furious? דכתיב, because it's written, פניי ילכו וניחותי לך. Again, Maimonides tells us in the Guide for the Perplexed that it's all human expressions, and it means my face will go and I'll give you the rest. אמר לו הקדוש ברוך הוא למשה, God said to Moses, המתן לי עד שיעברו פנים של זעם, wait until my anger, my countenance of anger will pass, ואניח לך, and then I should give you a rest. So several things we learn from that. First of all is the whole idea that there is a certain time that it's called Hanagat HaKas, that it's like a certain time that God is like in a sense of angry. The Rambam said to us in the Sefer Ramadan, Hayad HaChazaka, he said that you see it in Hilchot Deut. You learned it the other day. I heard in a shiur gave here the rabbi from Ner Israel, the Cranus. So he quoted this Hilchot Deut. The Rambam said in Perek Hey, in chapter 4, that a person should avoid himself from saying things, even the good things, when he knew that people will not accept what he said. One of the things is he should not appease his fellow at a time of anger until he calms down. That's part of what should be done. But anyway, we learn here that there is a certain Hanhagat HaKas, there is certain moments in the sense that God is not in our language, but there are certain moments that it's an attribute of anger in the world. So, Mi aka itrach kameh dekun shabrichu, the ask, and there is an anger, God is only good. Aim, they said yes, the Tanya, ve'el zo'em bechol yom, who said about Bil'am, that God anger every day. Ve'kama zamo, and how long does his anger last? Rega, just 1 second, 1 moment. Ve'chama rega, how long is a moment? So they said, אחד מחמשת ריבו הוא 8,888 בשעה, וזוהי רגע. So in simple way, it's 158,888 part of an hour. It means a רגע, it means a moment. So again, ואין כל בריאה יכולה לכוון אותה שעה. The creature cannot determine exactly what this time happened. חוץ, except for one person, the evil biblical בלעם. דכתיב בי, ויודע דעת עליון, that he know the mind of God. So the Gemarah asks, what? Bilam know the mind of God? Hashta dad ben Torah vayada dad Yonida. Bilam didn't know even how his donkey, he didn't know how to communicate with his animal's mind. You tell me here that he know the mind of God, Ela melamed, it's going to teach us. Shaya yodea that this wicked person, Bilam, he knew how lechaven, to ascertain, אותה שעה שהקדוש ברוך הוא כועס בה. He knew the exact moment that God becomes angry, and therefore he used it to curse us. והיינו דאמר לו נביא לישראל, that's exactly what the prophet Micah said in the Haftarah of Parashat Balak. Ami, my people, זכור now, remember, מה יעץ בלק מלך מואב, what the king of Moab, Balak, remember that time, שיטים ונגלגל, למען דעת צדקות השם. In order to know the righteousness of God. מהי למען דעת צדקות השם? What do you mean by saying this word? אמר רבי אלעזר said, אמר להם הקדוש ברוך הוא לישראל, דעו כמה צדקות עשיתי עמכם. You shall know how good I am with you, God said. שאילו כעסתי בימי בלעם הרשע, that if I really follow his attributes and make myself angry at the time of wicked Bilam, לא נשתייר משונאים של ישראל סליד ופליט. They use the סכינה, or they use the opposite way language to say that no remnant whatsoever will remain among us. והיינו דקאמר לבלעם לבלעם, that's exactly what Bilam said to Balak. מה אקוב לא קרבו כל? How can I curse them if the Almighty God did not curse them? So in other words, he has the intent to curse, and fortunately he wasn't successful, because in our language God wasn't cooperating with him. מלמד שכל אותם ימים לא זעם. Did go to teach us that all these days God removed that attributes, or not became angry. וכמה זעמו, and how long is anger last? רגע, a moment, בכמה רגע, how long? אמר רבי אבין, ויתם רבי אבימה, רגע כממרי. A moment is equal to the time where we use the word רגע. Again, it's all in the language that want to express attributes. ומנהלן דרגע רתח, and how do you know that angry is a moment? שנאמר, כי רגע באפו חיים ברצונו. We said in Psalm 30, כי רגע באפו, that his anger endures but a moment. His favor extends for a lifetime. ואי בית אימה מהכה, you can bring from another source that said, in the book of Isaiah, חבי כמעט רגע עד יעבור זעם. Hide for a moment until the anger will go away. So, ואימת רתח, and when God become angry, אמר Abaye, בהנח תלת שעה כמייתה. The first time of the day, the first 3 hours of the day, of the morning. כי חבר קרבלת תרנגולה וקאי אחת קרגת. There is a certain moment, the Talmud said, that the rooster is a pail, and he stand on וקאי אחת קרגה, and he stand on one foot. That's the time signal that God is a second of anger. כל שעה שאתה בשעתה נמי אחיקאי. So you say that other time of the day when the rooster standing on the one foot, it's and they has a pale face. So they said no. כל שעה that eat beishuai kisumaike. All the other time is just red stripes, but beishat aled beishuai kisumaike. But that time, the first 3 hours of the day, that moment of God's anger, there is no red streak on it. So hahu Tzdoki, the Aviv Bishavuded Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi, it was a person that he was a heretic. And he lived close to great Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi. We mentioned several members from him. Havaka Metzar Alei Tuva Bekrayim. He used to try to tease or harass this great rabbi with different texts in the Torah. You know, it's like sometimes you go outside of our community to people who are not educated, and different attitudes. One of them can be people start teasing you or asking you or arrest you with the biblical sources. Yom Achad shakal tarnegol v'okmei ben kareh v'de'arsa. He was sick and tired of him, so Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi, he took a rooster, and he tried to do the idea of getting God angry. So he put the feet on the bed, ve'ayen ba. So he stared at the rooster, and he has a purpose. Savar kimat ha'isha ta'alaite. When I see the rooster getting pale and standing on one leg, I'm going to curse this person, this heretic, who aggravated me all the time. Kimat ha'isha ta'nayem. Amar shma mina lavor cha'ara de'me'avad achi. All of a sudden, when that moment came, Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi, his hand, he just fall a moment or asleep. He just does off. So you understand that that's not the way the Almighty wish to use these certain things. That's not for us. Verachamav al kol ma'asav k'tiv. But God, we said during the Psalm Tehillah David, that God, His mercy is upon all His creatures, including that people. Uchtiv gam anosh l'tzadik lo tov. We said that the righteous, for the righteous to punish is not good. In other words, we pray that people who are not righteous should make the teshuva and be righteous. We don't pray for their destruction. Tana mishmed Rabbi Meir. The Braita teaches us the name of Rabbi Meir. B'sha'ah she'achama zorachat v'chol malchei mizrach u'ma'arav manichim kidreim b'roshem mishtachavim l'chama. When the sun rises in the morning, and all those pagan kings in the east and the west, what did they do? They bow down to the sun in worship. Did you ever heard people say, oh, it's going to be a night full of moon, look at the moon and make some prayer? Did you ever heard that? So that's almost the same attitude as the paganism. So they said here, miyad koes HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the God became angry. It's obviously, we said in Aseret HaDibrot, in the Ten Commandments, that you should not have any other God but me, and that's for sure a creature of God, and it's giving attribute to something that it's not God Himself. So is another member, Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Yossi, Tova מרדות אחת בליבו של אדם יותר מכמה מלכיות. So he said a single time of a self-discipline in the heart of a person is better than many lashes. Soon you see what does that mean. שנאמר ורדפה את מאהביה ואמרה ואלך אשובה אל אשר ראשון כי טוב לי אז מעתה. It's again human language that speak about attributes of love in a sense of Song of Songs. So they try to say here is they speak about relationship. Hosea said that like she shall pursue her lover to reach it, and then she will say, oh, I returned to my first husband because he was better. So he said it's a single impulse of self-discipline in the heart of a person is better than many lashes, which means God is God of mercy. God doesn't wish to see any person does teshuvah towards suffering. It's better for a person to recognize God and do all this act of returning by himself. It's like she said, oh, my first husband was the best. Rish Lakish amar yoter mimea malkut. Rish Lakish said that self-approach it's better than 100 lashes. שנאמר תחת גערה ומבין מהכות כסיל מאה. The humbleness from the reproof is more evident in understanding man than 100 lashes in a fool. So again, what he tried to say is from the book of Proverbs that it's always better for a person to return to God naturally. ואמר רבי יוחנן משום רבי יוסי, 3 דברים ביקש משה לפני הקדוש ברוך הוא ונתן לו. There are 3 things Moses asked God and God gave him. 1, ביקש שתשרה שכינה על ישראל. Moses said, request that the divine providence will rest upon us, ונתן לו, and God granted him request. שנאמר, הלא בלכתך עמנו, unless you accompany us. So this from Exodus mean that he was granted his request. Second, ביקש שלא תשרה שכינה על עובדי כוכבים. He asked that the idol worshipper will not have the divine presence. ונתן לו, שנאמר ונפלינו על עמך. They said about the plagues in the book of Exodus that it was a separation, and I and people will be made distinct. ביקש, the third request, ביקש להודיעו דרכיו של הקדוש ברוך הוא. Moses asked to know the path of God, and God granted him. שנאמר, הודיעני נא את דרכיך. He asked God, I want to understand your way. אמר לפניו ריבונו של עולם, he said to God, Master of the universe, מפני מה יש צדיק וטוב לו, צדיק ורע לו, יש רשע וטוב לו, ויש רשע ורע לו. Why there is a situation you see in the world that is a righteous people suffering, or wicked people have a good life, and it looks like, appear like is no a correct decorum of getting back the reward. What's אמר לו משה, God said to him, Moses, צדיק וטוב לו צדיק בן צדיק, צדיק ורע לו צדיק בן רשע, רשע וטוב לו רשע בן צדיק, רשע ורע לו רשע בן רשע. If you want to understand it in a simple way, a righteous person, it's good, the righteous person is son of righteous person. So what does that mean? You can go in a certain ways. One way, אמר מור, the master said, צדיק וטוב לו צדיק בן צדיק. A righteous person, it means one who is a good righteous person, son of a righteous person. צדיק ורע לו צדיק בן רשע. Someone who's a child, the son of, he is a righteous but the son of a wicked person. So here is a question. They said, Eini, is that really true? והכתיב, it's written, פוקד עוון אבות על בנים. They said that God visiting the sins of the father upon the sons, and on the other hand it's written, וכתיב ובנים לא ימתו על אבות. So you see here a contradiction. In one place said that God visited the sin from the parents upon the children, and in another place they said that the children, the sons, shall not be put to death because of their fathers. How do you reconcile this? So you see the book of Ezekiel answer and the Talmud answer in a few places. They said, "Ve'raminam kraya adadi." This looks like contradiction between the two verses. "U'mishaninan lo kashya hak she'ochazin ma'aseh avotehem b'yedeihem, hak she'en ochazin ma'aseh avotehem b'yedeihem." It's not a question. It's when the children follow the footsteps of their ancestors. If it's son or grandson of Nazis, follow the footsteps of the grandparents, so they deserve punishment. Not only their punishment, but continuation. Some rabbis said it's because they don't care if their children get punished because of them. It's a different way of thinking, but the key point is, if the children turn around and they change their way, unlike their ancestors, so they're not going to afflict pain upon them or to be punished over sins that ancestors committed. But if they continue that path, then they deserve what happens, which means that everything in that sense connected to the roots. If they, for example, they said in Kabbalah that Iyov was reincarnation of Terach. In Terach they said that it was a person that worshipped idols. So if you see that Iyov suffered, it's like he get back in the transmigration in Gilgul, and he paid for his past life for the sin of worshipping idols of Terach. That was spark of his soul in the past. That's one way of understanding. The book of Tanya at the very beginning put this famous 5 category: tzaddik v'tov lo, righteous and good, righteous bad, and vice versa, rasha, the wicked, and benoni in between. And he tried to bring one of the sources, is Raya Memna, is from the Zohar, Parshat Mishpatim, that it's a different category of a person, how he is able to overcome his evil inclination. Ela hachea ka'amar le. Whether this is what God said to Moshe Rabbeinu. Tzadik v'tov lo, tzadik gamur. And that's basically the Tanya, the great Rabbi Shneur Zalman Miladi explained. He said the righteous person for whom things are good is a completely righteous person. Which means, like King David, that said, V'libi halal bekirbi, that he was able toward fasting, toward a good deed, to overcome his evil inclination, to subjugate it. Tzadik veralo, tzadik v'sheno gamur. A righteous person whom things are bad is a righteous person that not completely righteous. And the same, the opposite. Rasha v'tov lo rasha v'sheno gamur. Rasha veralo, rasha gamur. A wicked person from whom things are bad is a wicked person that completely wicked. ופליגה דרבי מאיר דאמר רבי מאיר, שתיים נתנו לו ואחת לא נתנו לו. So the Meir hold disagree, and he hold that two of Moshe Rabbeinu requests was given and two not, and one not. He asked for three things, and he says one of them he not granted. שנאמר, וחנותי את אשר אחון, אף על פי שאינו הגון, ולחמתי את אשר אחם, אף על פי שאינו הגון. Which means that God said, I should show favor whom I choose to show favor, which means that even sometimes if that person is unfit for a favor, and he said, I should have a mercy over things that someone would not deserve the favor. So again, it's a different school of thought if it's really the three things were granted or only two out of the three. Then, Vayomer lo tuchal lirod et panai. And he said, God said to Moses, you cannot be able to see my face. תנא משמי דרבי יהושע בן קורחה, כך אמר לו הקדוש ברוך הוא למשה, כשרציתי לא רצית, עכשיו שאתה רוצה אני רוצה. God said to Moses, when I wanted to reveal myself to you, when it was a burning bush, you ran away, you didn't want it. Now, when you want, I don't want. So what does that mean? So explain, ופליגה דרבי שמואל בר נחמני אמר רבי יונתן. אמר רבי שמואל בר נחמני אמר רבי יונתן, בשכר שלוש זכה לשלוש. In reward for three things, Moshe Rabbeinu, regard to the burning bush, he merited three things. בשכר ויסתר משה פניו, because Moses, reward that Moses hid his face, זכה לקלסתר פנים. You have a shining face. Again, we have to understand that is it really shining face or it's a aura. בשכר כי ירא, because he is afraid, זכה לביירו מגש שלה, that merited that people have fear to approach him. בשכר מהביט, in reward that for gazing, זכה ותמונת השם יביט. He merited that the image of God does he gaze. והסירותי את כפיי וראית את אחוריי, and the text said that then I shall remove my hand, again in our language God said to him, and you will see my back. אמר רב חנה בר ביזנא אמר רבי שמעון בר חסידה, מלמד שרק הקדוש ברוך הוא למשה קשר תפילין. This teaches that God show Moses the knot of tefillin in the back of his head. So if you remember yesterday we discussed a little bit the different attributes in tefillin. So one is first what we said earlier is that God did not want Moses to have damage because there are certain things human cannot see and survive. It's like above human, so God just gave him a certain tool like little rock, and v'sakoti kapi, and I cover because otherwise your soul will not be able to stay in a body. And the whole idea is show him a knot of tefillin. We explain that if you look at the tefillin, the stripe, one represents chesed, one represents gvura, and we said the knot is the attributes to both, to chesed and gvura. We explained it a little more yesterday, but that's basically what Moshe Rabbeinu understand, that God attributes in this world is a combination of chesed and gvura, different attributes. אמר רבי יוחנן משום רבי יוסי, כל דיבור ודיבור שיצא מהקדוש ברוך הוא דבר. Everything you see, it's for good. That God, any statement uttered by God, is only for a person's favor. אפילו על תנאי, even if based on contradiction, לא חסר בו, God not receive. מנהלן, how do you know it? משה רבינו, שנאמר, הרף ממני ואשמידם ואעשה אותך לגוי עצום. אף על גב דבר משה רחמי עלי, דמילתא ובטלה, אפילו אחרי וכמה בזרי. So even Moshe Rabbeinu, God said to him, let me annihilate that nation, make you a new one. And Moses said, no way you can do it, please. So even though it didn't happen, he still merited that toward his descendants is a fulfillment. שנאמר, בני משה גרשון ואלעזר, והיו בני אליעזר חברה הראש, בני רחביה רבו למעלה, ותנא רבי יוסף למעלה משישים רביו, עד הרבייה ורבייה. So it means that he was granted with a future generation. So that happened to him even God did not annihilate the people. כתיב אחר רבו למעלה, וכתיבתם ובני ישראל פרו וישרצו וירבו ויעצמו מאוד מאוד. These are two places written the same thing, so we learn, when we explain many times, when you have the same words, one of the principles is you take in a word and you juxtapose both words and you make it together. So when you use the word ravu, which means that they exceeding tremendously, so because it's written twice, reviya, reviya, one time it's written reviya there, so we learn one of the principles of Rabbi Ishmael, we said, is gzera shava. You take a word and you compare it. So we learn that because it's written two times, Bnei Yisrael that the children of Rechaviah above the 60 ribo, that many. אמר רבי יוחנן משום רבי שמעון בן יוחנן, יום שברא הקדוש ברוך הוא את העולם לא היה אדון שקרא לקדוש ברוך הוא אדון, עד שבא אברהם וקרא אדון, שנאמר ויאמר Hashem Elokim, במה ידע כי ירשנה. So here they don't use the name of Havayah, they use the name of Adanut, which is a different name, but it's in our language there's a time that Abraham quote unquote discovered God out of all this environment of worship idols, and he said to him, my Lord Hashem Elokim. Hashem Elokim, we explained the other day that that's two different attributes. Elokim is the judgment, Hashem is the compassion, and he says, whereby should I know that I am inherited? Amar Rav, Av Daniel Anan Bishvil Avraham, even the ancient biblical Daniel was answered because of the merit of Abraham, שנאמר, ואתה שמע אלוקינו תפילת עבדך ולתחנונה וירפנך ונגשך שונה למען השם. So he used the name Adanut, one of the name of God, and we use it when we say a supplication, Tachnun, and that's basically because of the merit of the ancestor Abraham. למענך מבעלה, שהוא say for you sake, אלא למען אברהם שקראך אדון, because Abraham, that out of all this very unpleasant environment, he still recognized God, and he said, for the sake of Abraham, was the first to call you Lord. Now remember we talk about anger. ואמר רבי יוחנן משום רבי שמעון בן יוחאי מניין שנרצים לו אדם בשעת כעסו. How do you know that we should not attempt to calm down a person or appease him the time that he is angry? שנאמר פניי ילכו והניחותי לך, because God said my face will go and I'll give a rest. So that's another source. ואמר רבי יוחנן משום רבי שמעון בן יוחאי משום ביום שברא הקדוש ברוך הוא את עולמו לא היה אדם שהודה לקדוש ברוך הוא. From the very beginning there wasn't a person that was so thankful עד שבא לאה והודעתו, שנאמר הפעם הודעת השם לאה, the beginning she had three sons, Reuben, Shimon and Levi, and each of them somehow expresses unhappiness. Look at my husband hates me, etc. I'll be an escort to my husband. The fourth one, when Judah was born, she said, at this time I'll be thankful to God. So that was the time that she was the first one. ראובן, אמר רבי אלעזר, אמרה לאה, ראו מה בין בני לבין חמי. דהילו בין חמי אף על גב נדעתי זבנה לבחירותי, דכתיב וינקור את בכורתו ליעקב, חזו מה הכתיב ויסתום עשיו את יעקב. Look at the difference between me and my in-laws. That my in-laws, when Jacob sold his first birthright to when Esau sold his first birth to Jacob, so it's written that as a result Esau hates him. וכתיב ויאמר אחי קרא שמו יעקב וכבן ברק. Even Esau sold it to Jacob, still he complained and he said, my brother cheated me or outdid me 2 times, which wasn't true because he sold it. בני, in regard to my son Reuven, אף על גב דל כורחי שקל יוסף לבחרותי מיני, even Joseph took the firstborn right against his will, דכתיבו בכלל לא יצרו אביו נתנה בכורתו לבני יוסף, because he said, because that Reuven defiled his father bad, his right of the firstborn was given to the children of Joseph, אפילו אחא לא הקנבי. Even though he wasn't jealous of Joseph, דכתיב וישמע ראובן ויציל מדם, because it's written in Genesis that Reuven heard and he rescued him, Joseph, from the brother's hands. Now, we talk a little bit about names. Ruth, you know, Ruth, the ancient Ruth, the Moabite. מהי רות? אמר רבי יוחנן, שזכתה ויצא מן דוד שלבאו לקדוש ברוך הוא בשירות ובשבחות. The meaning of her name is she merited that King David descended from her, who sated God with songs and praises. מנהלן דשמא גרים. So from where do we know that the name caused the future occurrences, which is several places the Talmud said that when the parents give a child a name, it's they have some type of prophecy, they have some level of prophecy. אמר רבי אלעזר, ואמר קרא, לכו חזו מפעלות השם אשר שם שמות בארץ, אל תקראי שמות אלא שמות. So the whole idea is that there is some type of ability the parents have to give a name of a child that carries his or her future. So we should be careful when we have names, because the Hebrew name is a reflection. ואמר רבי יוחנן משום רבי שמעון בן יוחאי, here is another statement that Rabbi Yochanan said in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, קשה תרבות רעה בתוך ביתו של אדם יותר מלחמת גוג ומגוג. When unfortunately you see a child in your house that he is not behaving properly, you raise your children in a certain way, and you have one child that is somehow came out different, that's even harder than the Messianic era. We talk about the war between two mighty nations, Gog and Magog. Why? שנאמר, מזמור לדוד בברכו מפני אבשלום בנו. וכתיב בתרי השם הרבות צבאי רבים קמים עליי. Because it said in the Song of David, when he ran away from his own son, from Absalom, and then they said, Hashem, how many of our tormentors, many raise up against me. ואילו גבי מלחמות גוג ומגוג, and also concerning the wars of Gog and Magog, it's written, למה רגשו גויים ולאומים מגור ריק, ואילו מה רבות צבאי לא כתיב. They said, why do people gather and the nation talk in vain, and how many my tormentors is not written there. So the whole idea is that when a person, God forbid, have some suffering inside his house by having a child that misbehavior, that it's a tremendous sorrow. Now the Gemarah repeats the verse, and they go to different phases of that. It said, Mizmor David b'vorchom Absalom. The psalm said, a song of David when we rescue from his son Absalom. So they said, Mizmor David, Kinal David, why you say a song of David? You should say a lament of David. Why you should say lament of David? Because he's running away for his life from his son. So it should be a lament. It should not be a praise, a song. אמר רבי שמעון בן אבי שלום, משל למה על דבר דומה, לאדם שיצא עליו שטר חוב. Rabbi Shimon explained, this is by analogy, this is what compared to a person who have a loan document, and קודם שפרעו היה עצב, לאחר שפרעו שמח. Before he paid, he was in a very big, deep trouble. He couldn't sleep at night because he needed to pay this loan. But after he paid, he is happy. אף כן דוד. God told David, כיוון שאמר לו הקדוש ברוך הוא, אני מקים רע עליך רע מבדיך, because God told him, because of the sins involved with in the past certain misbehavior. So said God told him, I'll raise up evil against you from your own house. So King David היה עצב, he was sad. אמר שמה עבד וממזר עמוד אלו חייסרי, maybe God will give me a slave or illegitimate child who does not have a pity on me. כיוון לחזה אבשלום היה שמח, because he saw that this sorrow came from his son Absalom, he assumed that God have a pity on him, and he rejoiced. משום כך אמר מזמור, that he was thinking even at that sorrow that his son Absalom tried to get rid of him. ואמר רבי יוחנן משום רבי שמעון בן יוחאי, מותר להתגרות ברשעים בעולם הזה, שנאמר עוזבי תורה אלו רשע ושומרי תורה יגרו בם. הוא allow, it's permissible to content with the wicked in this world. תניא מאחי רבי דוסטאי ברבי מתון אומר, מותר להתגרות ברשעים בעולם הזה, שנאמר עוזבי תורה אלו רשע. So he said it's permissible to content and denigrate the wicked, which means either you said to admonish them or to rebuke them. And he brings sources. ואם לחשך אדם לומר, והכתיב על ידך במרעים, if a person tells you, but it's written that you should not start up with people who are מרעים, who are wicked, אל תקנא ועושה עוולה, you should not contend with people who are do evil, אמור לו מי שלגבו נוקפו אומר כן. Someone who is really by himself is not righteous, that's his thing that way. אלא אל תתחר במרעים, להיות כמרעים. You should not be like them. אל תקנא בעושה עוולה, להיות כעושה עוולה. not desire to be like all these evil dwarves. אומר, אל יקנא לבך בחטאים, כי אם ביראת השם כל היום. You should not be jealous or be envy of people who sin, because you don't know how the final outcome. איני, that's true, אבל אמר רבי יצחק, אם ראית רשע שהשעה משחקת לו, אל תתגרה בו. If you see a wicked person that is enjoying good fortune, you do not contend with him. שנאמר, יחילו דברך ברולד. You see that he's always successful. You're wondering, this wicked person, why is so successful? ולא אומר שזוכה בדין. You see that he's victorious in judgment. שנאמר, מרום משפטך נגדו. You see that he's always winning cases and everything that ולא אומר שרואה בצריו. You see that he witnessed the downfall of his fall. שנאמר כל צוריו יפיח בהם. So how come? לא קשיא, הבמילה דידי, הבמילה דשמיא. This statement Rabbi Yitzchak made, it is one a personal affair, and the other one, the bride speak about the heavenly affair, which means to defend the Torah and mitzvot. V'bayitema v'habemila deshmaya, both is in the heavenly affair. V'lo kashya haberasha sha'asham mesechet lo habesha she'nashacham yitkidlo. That's a wicked person that enjoy a good fortune that is temporarily. In other words, that God gives sometimes a temporary success to certain people. You see in Haman that he was successful for a certain time. You see a certain situation, people are successful. Either you say that God give a reward to some person in this world in order to go to Gehinnom in the afterlife, or you can say that it's just temporarily that he enjoy good fortune. If or you prefer, you say this is a wicked person who enjoy good fortune, and it's a difference between a one who's fully righteous and one who's not. What does that mean? Why do you look upon the betrayer? Why you remain silent when the wicked man swallow up one is more righteous than he? The wicked swallow righteous. It's written that God is not for abandoning. So it means that swallow in our language is was not completely righteous. Again, so this applied to a certain wicked, like we explained, like Haman, that enjoy a certain success, but that was very transient. It wasn't permanent. ואמר רבי שמעון בן יוחאי, כל הקובע מקום לתפילתו יבב נותחת לעמיו. A person, anyone who assigns a set place to pray, or ויב נופתים תחתיו, his enemies will fall under him. שנאמר, ושמתי מקום לעמי לישראל נתנתי ושכן תחתיו ולא ירגע זאת ולא הוסיפו בני עליו לנותו כאשר בראשונות. There is a sentence that said that I shall appoint a place for my people Israel, and I shall establish them, and they will not disturb more, and nor shall iniquities people torment them anymore at the beginning. So Ravuna asked, in one hand it's written the torment, and the other one it said destroy. Said בתחילה לענותו, at the beginning torment, ולבסוף לכלותו, and at the end destroy them. So basically the whole idea is that it's a permanent place. It's bringing good to a person when you have a set place to pray, and I think Dr. Friedman can attest to that statement. ואמר רבי יוחנן משום רבי שמעון בן יוחאי, גדולה שימושה של תורה יותר מלימודה. Rabbi Yochanan said in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai that attending the house of study Torah is greater than study Torah under them, which means when you are serving a scholar, and like written, שנאמר פה אלישע בן שפט אשר רצק מים על ידיעה, which was a fellow by the name of Elisha ben Shaphat, who was a attendee for Eliyahu. למד לו נאמר אלא יצק, those that he learned, that said that he is pouring water on his hand. מלמד שגדולה שימושה יותר מלימודה, that the greater is the attending one's teacher than the study Torah under him. So if you are משמש תלמיד חכם, if you are basically subjugated yourself, you under someone who is a Torah scholar, you basically serve him, you learn a lot of things from him because you don't have your ego. That's the common interpretation, and you'll be able to observe and learn much more than just in a regular Torah session. אמר לרבי יצחק לרב נחמן, מהייתם הלא אתם אמר לבקנישתו לצלויה? אמר לו לא יכין לה, why you didn't come to the synagogue? He asked him. So he said, I was very weak. אמר לי, לחנפה למר 10 וליצלי. Let them assemble 10 men for the master so they can pray with the minyan. אמר לי, רב נחמן said to רבי יצחק, תריך עליהם נמתא. It's too troublesome. ולמה למר לשלוחה לצבוע, so Rabbi Yitzchak said to him, the master should then ask a messenger of the congregation, בעידנא דמצא לציבור על היטב לעוד למר, when the congregation prayers to come and inform that you pray, אמר לי, מה יקו להי? So what is all need? אמר לי, דאמר רבי יוחנן, משום רבי שמעון בן יוחאי, מה דכתיב, ואני תפילתי לך את רצון? What does that mean? That my prayer, it's said in Tehillim in Psalm 69, את רצון, ומתי את רצון? When is the time that God, the providence, is upon us? בשעה שהציבור מתפללים, when there is a public prayer, this is את רצון, this is the time that divine providence dwell upon us.